This is an orientation video for all of the grow gardens. We're at Spence right now, but this can be applied to all the gardens. Just kind of in general, how to get into the shed, how to water, what to look for when weeding, etc. So the first thing is each garden has either a shed or a garden tool chest. And there's a lock code, so there's usually like a lock like this to get in. So we'll give you that information depending upon which garden you sign up for. But you'll have to get the code word to get into the shed or tool box. And then once you're in, you want to. So a shed is kind of organized with tools for gardening on the left and lesson supplies on the right. And there's definitely some crossover and stuff, but that's generally kind of how they're organized. So the volunteers will mostly be using stuff on the left-hand side of the shed. And then the other most important thing is the water key. So the water key is going to be located usually on the front right-hand shelf of the shed. And this one looks like this. Some of them look more like little hexes, but this is how you turn the spigot on at the building. Okay, so water key usually just goes right in, attaches to the spigot here, and you can turn the water on that way. And when you're done watering, just be sure to turn the water off, take the key out, and put it back in the front right-hand part of your shed. Okay, so each garden has like a nozzle like this, and there's different settings. Depending upon what you're watering, you might want to use a different setting. So for stuff that is germinating still, like seeds you've just planted, tiny little sprouts, things that are more delicate, you probably want to use like a more delicate setting. So this one has like a garden setting, which is more delicate. And then you can also probably, if you're finding that the water pressure is too much, you can probably adjust at the spigot along the building and just like turn the spigot down a little bit, and then you'll have maybe less pressure that way. So that's good for delicate things. And then once you have more established plants, you could use something more like a flood setting. The water must not be on totally, but you could use something that'll just like fill up a bed faster with water. And I would recommend just like setting the hose down in a bed and just kind of like letting it go for a little bit. Especially if it's really dry and we haven't had rain in a while, you could just let the flood setting go for a minute or two in a spot and then move it a little bit and just continue like that until a bed is fully saturated. So for pulling weeds, we want to be weeding in the beds as well as the paths. For paths, I think the most important thing is to make sure that the weeds are clear along kind of the edges of the bed, so it's easy to access. So if you notice a bunch of weeds growing up along the perimeter and the edge of the bed, those should be pulled right away. And then some of the beds are pretty weedy, like this one, and a lot of times there are popsicle sticks marking where desirable plants are. So you can look for those popsicle sticks, and it's oftentimes written on the stick as to what is planted there. But if you're not sure if it's a weed or a plant, I would say err on the side of caution and just don't pull it. Another thing you can do is get an app on your phone to identify plants. And there's a bunch of them. I like Picture This. That's a good app. But you can identify plants that way, and that'll help you determine if it's a weed or a desirable plant.